this is Rob with Expedition Team Overland here with an instructional video of how to use and program your Midland X-TALKER radio. I've worked with Zach over at Midland a couple times here, getting some background information about the product line and whatnot. So on their website they have 3 kind of brands of handheld radios. They all have distinct uses. They're all the same. They're all most of them are, I would say 3/4 of them are FRS, and then they have a GMRS handheld radio as well. The only difference between the two is wattage output. They're all on the same channels, and except the GMRS ones don't have 36 channels, the FRS ones do, and I'll go into how that works in a little bit. So their low-end ones are more for the kiddos. They're not very waterproof at all, very basic. They got fun colors for kids and whatnot. But then we get into the T series, the X-TALKERs, and then they have a GTX series. GTX is the GMRS radios, and the X-TALKERs are the FRS radios. And within the brands, they have a lot of the different model numbers. They're all pretty much the same. Some of them are just different wattage outputs, features, and colors. So there's like in the X-TALKER 70 series, there's a bunch of different model numbers, just with some are camouflage, some come in 2, 3, 4 sets. They are putting up on their website pretty soon a chart describing what all the radios are and all the features of whatnot. So on the Midland website, and when you get your radio in the mail or from your store, you're gonna get like a little wallet size instruction manual. But on the website, they have all their manuals are PDFs. So what I've done is I printed them off, and it has and you can just make them to any size you want to make the font a little bit bigger. So these are great radios for use on the trail, not long distance communications, for spotters, camera people, and for around camp. If you're at a campground, you give it to the kiddos. They are growing a lot in the restaurant industry for the hostesses and hostess to talk with tables are open and whatnot. They're also becoming very popular on vacation where you're in a foreign country and your cell phones don't work. We used them on cruises, and it worked out really well. In the last cruise we did with a large party, part of us were up on like the front right portion of the boat. The other group was in the back left portion of the boat, and we were able to talk through the boat, and it worked really well. We didn't get a lot of interference with the metal. Now, there were a lot of people using the radio, so we had to go into different channels, and that is where, in the manuals, I'll go through it in a little bit of how to use the privacy channels. That's where I think those are the best uses of those features of these radios. It's a little complicated, so I'm going to try to clear the mud up for you in this video. In the instruction manual, they do talk about range, and on the website, on the Midland website, it does say that these have anywhere from 15 to 30 mile range. These radios only put out no more. The GMRS, I think, put out maybe 2 watts of power, they said, on the high power, and the FRS are maybe 1/4 watt. So they're not putting out a whole lot of power, so you're not going to get a huge range. You're probably, it's going to be very optimal conditions for you to get 36 miles. And that's what I mean. Atmosphere has to be perfect. Line of sight, you're on a beam hilltops with no trees between you and the other person. That's where you might get 36 miles. So in realistic, this is perfect for convoys. You're within eyesight of everybody, spotter in front of the trail, in front of an obstacle, or just around camp. So these are just great little radios to have. And if you're moving from in the Jeep community, we were very much hedge set on CB radios, and now you're starting to see the transition to either amateur ham radio or the FRS GMRS. I think these are like just under $100. You get two with charging cables and a charging base and batteries. So for $100, you got two radios to talk to, and you can't really match that with a CB. And even a handheld CB, you're getting one for maybe $100, and then you have a ton of limitations with the range and the wattage on those. So I think that if your Jeep club or your overlanding club is transitioning to the GMRS and you're not sure if you want a micro mobile to hard mount it into your vehicle, I'm going to have some videos coming up on those in the future. This is a great starter kit for that. It's going to get what you need to do. You don't have to spend a lot of money to hardwire installing your vehicle, or you can take it from one vehicle. In the micro mobiles, you're pretty much, if you're going to hardwire and all that, it's in that vehicle for a while. So, and in the range, these have high and low power. Like I said, the high power on this is just under a watt. Low power is like a quarter of a watt. So my rule of thought for when to use high and low power is I'm always on high power, but that's because I have them hardwired in my vehicle and I'm not worrying about battery. When you're on high power, you're obviously going to be transmitting the furthest distance. So let's just say you are 36 miles. So everyone within a 36-mile bubble of you is going to be able to hear your communications. So say you're driving down the interstate and you're picking up a lot of farmers. Well, then go to low power, and then you might not hear them and they might not hear you. So that's one game of thought. The other one is, especially with these handhelds, is low power is going to be using less power, obviously. So you're going to get a longer life out of the radio. So that's, for the most part, that's just the best thing to do. So we're going to go through, I'm going to go through the instruction manual page by page and just going over what the features are of them. So here we have on page 3, I think it is, they have a really great breakdown of what the screen means, what all the digits mean, and everything. Kind of give you an overview of that. So that's a good one. And then they have a really good reference chart of the menu. So when you go into the menu and then the sub menus, those are really good to have. So so the first sets that they have is monitor and scan. Monitor is pretty much like a listen only mode. So you're not gonna be able to transmit. It's just gonna be listening for if there's anyone on that frequency or that channel. I'll be using channel and frequency in this. They both mean the same thing. Scan. That is something you're probably going to want to do. Say you're at Easter Jeep Safari, you're on a cruise, you're somewhere where there's going to be a lot of people using this. Scan is something you're going to want to do maybe to start out with, to look to see, okay, what channels are being used. So it's not who's on those frequencies. Like if there's another radio on channel 5, and they're not transmitting it, you're not going to know. So you're going to be able to hear who's on those channels. So that's kind of a good thing to do to kind of, okay, well, what channels aren't being used? So if you hear a lot of chatter on channel 14, well, obviously you probably won't use channel 14. So so that's those two. Those are good to start out with. Next is call alert. So this is a lot of this terminology also works in the amateur ham radio. And call alert, from what I've talked to a bunch of hams, it's a love-hate. You either love it or you hate it. It's in their community. So whenever you hit a call alert, everybody who's on that frequency, their handheld radio is going to start making a sound. Where I see this as something important is if you're in an emergency. You need to get everyone's attention. Or there's someone in your group that isn't listening to it because the radio's in their pocket and they don't hear it. This is just going to be a different tone that they'll probably be able to hear a little bit better. Okay, so first off, how to turn on the radio. Very simple. You have your antenna on this side, and then you have your on-off on this side. So turn it on. You're just going to turn it on. Restoring the factory resets. So we're going to be doing a lot of settings in here. If you don't like something you set up, restore factory resets, and that resets everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn off the radio, and then while turning the radio on, you're going to hold the up arrow, which is right here. You're going to turn them both on at the same time. You're gonna see it comes up with a little code. Boom, we're back to reset to factory settings. So what you see here is we have a full battery, we're on channel 1 and on high power. So now to do call alert, what we're gonna do is you're just gonna you're gonna hold the call button down for 4 seconds. Oh, sorry, that's how you lock it. So key lock is hold down for 4 seconds, and you do that on you just, there you go. So the call and the lock are on the same button, so you hold it down for 4 seconds, that locks it, and you just hold it once. First you're going to see the TX button, so that means you're transmitting, and then the call alert goes off. Here I have another radio here. I'm going to turn it on to channel 1. Okay, so we're on channel 1 here. We're going to do the call. So that radio went off as well. If I had my micromobile, my Jeep on channel 1, it would also be getting this call at the same time. So now to change channel selection, what you're going to do is you're going to hit the menu button once. The channel is going to be moving, is going to be blinking. You move the up and down arrows. Now we have 36 channels. Now if you're a nerd like I am, you're going to go to the last page in the manual, and you're going to see the frequency charts. So this is if someone was on a didn't have a GMRS radio with channel numbers, and you wanted to go to the actual frequency, you'd have to put this frequency in. So you'll see channels 1 through 22, what those frequencies are. 23 through 36 don't have frequencies. So what Midland has done in those channels is that it's one of these other channels that has the privacy code. So when you go to channel 36, you're only going to be able to use a Midland radio 36. So if someone has a Motorola, a Uniden, or another GMRS, FRS radio, actually these won't work on GMS, these are just FRS, another FRS radio, they don't have 36. Or if that company has 36, it's probably not the same channel. So it's only for Midland to Midland radio communications. And what they've done is they've taken one of these other channels, added a privacy code to it, and I'll go into what privacy codes are in a second, and then that is how they get those extra channels. Okay, so now we're here on channel 1. We're going to hit menu twice, and then the up arrow, and I'm going to say CTCSS, or we go to DCS. These are just different privacy codes within them. I'm not a big expert on them, but they kind of both work in the same way. So here we are on channel 1, CTCS, subchannel 1. Or you go subchannel 2, 3, 4. So we're in channel 1, CTCS. We're going to go up to DCS. And then we're DCS 1, DCS 2, DCS 3. Or we go, that's the power. Like I said, this is a little complicated. Now it's off. So if you want to go off, you just keep hitting the menu code. You're going to hit menu twice, and it's going to go off. And then you use the up arrows, so CTCS or DCS or off. You could pick either one of those that you want to be in, and then that will give you the privacy code. Now you're going to have to do this on the other radio as well. So the way these privacy codes work is that it sends out a when you key up the mic, it's going to send out a separate tone that the human ear can't hear, and it's going to tell the other radio to break the squelch. Squelch is how much power and sound, how much sound comes through. So when you break the squelch is when you have something going on. If you turn the squelch all the way on, you're just going to hear static. So if someone's super far away and you have the squelch, you might be able to hear them through it a little bit. You can't change the squelch on these. On the MXT 400 you can, but not on these you can't. So what that's doing is this is all ham radio, comes over from the ham radio industry. It breaks the squelch and you can hear it. So what it does is it gives you more options on that one channel. So channel 1 has all the CTS codes and all the DTS codes inside of it, plus the 36. So you're getting, I think they said like 121 possible channels with this. So it just gives you a lot more options when you're in very urban areas. Honestly, if I'm at Easter Jeep Safari and a lot of people are using these radios, I'm just going to go find another channel. Especially when I'm in town, everyone's going to be talking. And once you get out on the trail, it's going to be a little bit less. And then go to a low power. If we're in a small group, have everyone go to low power, and you should be able to be fine with that. So now we also have the transmit power levels. This is high-low. So this is how you're going to save power. So you're gonna hit the menu button twice. It's gonna say PR, and it's either high or low. You see the H and the L on the top of the screen. Like I said before, high power is gonna give you the most distance, but burn your battery faster. So kind of have to, if I'm on a trail, I'm just using this for spotters and for photographers or camera people. I'm probably going to set these to low power, just so it lasts, all day if you're out on the trail all day. All right, so now we're going to go into what Vox is. Vox is a hands-free way of using the radios. Honestly, I don't see a reason for this. If you use it on yourself, please leave it in the comments below. I'd love to learn more about it. But it's hands-free, and it has 9 settings, 1 through 9. So 1 is the most sensitive, so whatever you're saying will transmit. And then 9 is the least of it. So to set it up, we're going to go into menu, and it's going to go, it's the third one over, and you're going to see VOX up in the top left blinking. So I got to do it a little bit faster, Vox. And you go 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to set it here on 1, and come out of the menu bar. Hello, hello, hello. So you saw the TX light illuminates. That means that I'm transmitting. So right now I'm transmitting on channel 1. So the next thing we have is, so then to turn it off, we're just going to go back into where Vox is going. Go to, when it says off, the arrow key goes off is 1, 2, 3. And it's off now. So next is Roger Beep. Like I said, this is one of the other things that comes from ham. That's love-hate. It's when you look at the old, even the current space station communications, whenever they're done, when they've unkeyed the mic, it sends a beep out. So that notifies everyone else on that channel that that person is done. One thing I have learned in using these radios, especially for someone who's never used a radio before in communication, is they think it's like a cell phone or a telephone. And the way radios work is, let's say you have 3 people. 2 people are talking to each other and a third person's listening. When person 1 keys the mic, 2 and 3 can also hear, and 1 doesn't hear anything. All they're doing is transmitting. So the radio is only transmitting out, it doesn't transmit and receive at the same time. So now, while person 1 is talking, if person 3 keys up the mic, they're transmitting as well, but their signals are canceling each other, so they don't hear anything because their radios are both transmitting out. Person 3 is hearing 2 inbounds, and it's just gibberish. You really can't hear anything. So when you talk, you have to, the famous word is Roger out. And that meant that I am done my statement for now. That means I'm going to unkey the mic, and then the next person can talk up. So, like I was saying, with people who don't understand radios, they might try to talk on top of each other, and you won't hear the end of one conversation, the beginning of the other. So the beep is a way that everybody else knows that I have now unkeyed my mic, and now you can transmit. So if you're in a setting where you have kids or someone who, like I said, doesn't know it, this might be a good feature for them to have, so they know that you have finished your conversation. So what we're going to do is, it's the RB, so we're going to hit the menu, RB off, and you can only go on or off. So we're going to turn it on. So now we're going to say something. I'm going to turn this radio on as well. I'm on channel 1 on this other radio. Test, test. You heard that little click. That means that now you don't hear, when you're transmitting, you don't hear the click. The other radios do, so they know that you have finished radios. So then to turn it off, you're going to hit the menu till you see RB and just turn it off. So now we're in call alert, and this is where I said that you could use it for calling everybody else that's on the radio. So here you have your call alert, and it will transmit. So we're gonna go. You have five different call alerts, and it's a cougar, a duck, a crow, and a wolf, and a turkey. So you're gonna hit the menu till you see CA, CA1. And then, okay, so now we're on call alert 5. So now, let's get out of the thing. Now when you hit call, so that's all it does. It just changes the call alert selection. That's how you change what you want to go out. Like I said before, this is pretty much used for an emergency. If you need to get someone's attention, that's what you're going to want to do. Silent operation. So this is if you're, say you're a camera person and you're working with film and you have a radio, but anytime you fiddle with it or whatnot, you don't want it making any beeps or sounds. It will still send out the transmissions. It's just all the other mode buttons will be turned off. So we're going to go to the BP, Bravo Papa, on the mode. BP, on or off. So now we're going to turn it off. So you see now when I'm pressing it, it's not making any sound. There it goes, now it's on. Every time I press a button, it makes a noise. Alright, so now we're going to go over the weather radios features of the Midland radios. This is a great feature. The Midland radios that have it, the NOAA Weather Service sends out very generic weather for regions. It's going to be Northeast Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Pennsylvania, the shores. So if you're looking for weather for your town, it's not going to have it. So it's going to have the general area. So what the radio automatically does first is when you go into the weather radio mode, it scans and just goes to whatever radio, whatever frequency it can pick up the best signal. So we're going to turn on the radio. Radio's on, and you just hold down the weather button. And it's going to scan. Okay, so now it found channel 2. You can hear it. I'm going to turn it down. So now we're on channel 2. So that's all it does. So now the big feature here is the weather alerts. So what I didn't know is that on like cell phones with your weather app from your local TV station, the Weather Channel, or whoever, those alerts might be delayed up to 30 minutes. So your cell phone might not be able to give you an alert for a tornado. Tornadoes, we're talking minutes of notification. So if the alert comes out on this, it's gonna come out first on this radio before, anywhere from a couple seconds to 30 minutes delay of a cell phone. So having this set up, so if you're at camp and you just want to know what's going on, you don't have to listen to this all the time. Whenever something bad happens or a weather alert's gonna come out, NOAA's gonna send out a way that alerts this radio, and the radio's gonna automatically turn on for you to that frequency. So the way to do that is once you're in the weather mode, you're going to hit the menu button twice, and it's going to say AL on or AL off. So if you want it off, you just keep it off, or you hit the arrow button to that, and then come back out. So now we're in the weather radio feature. We don't want to listen to the radio. You just hit the transmit button once, and it takes you out of the weather radio mode and back into the radio communications mode. But you're going to see in the top there is a little storm cloud with a lightning bolt flashing. That is telling you that you're in alert mode. So now if something comes up, it's going to automatically turn on and go to the best frequency it has. And then to turn that back off, you're just going to have to hold down the weather button. I'll let it scan, find the frequency. Go to menu, AL off. There you go, you come out of radar weather mode. Now you can see that there is no storm cloud with the lightning bolt. So leave these at home, leave it plugged into your charger and leave it in the weather alert mode. And then when something happens, you'll hear a tone. It's probably going to scare you the first couple times. I've had mine go off for flash flooding, and you're just like, what is this sound? Is it a smoke detector? Is it whatnot? So just, kind of let it go off and listen to it the first time and warn everyone in your house what that is. So that's the features of these radios. These are great radios, like I said, to have for trail communication, camp, when you're on vacation where you don't have cell phones are working in a foreign country, on a cruise ship, whatnot. These are great little radios. It's also a great transition if you're transitioning, if you're a Jeep club or Overland club or whoever is moving from CBs, GMRS, FRS. This is a great transition radio to say, hey, is this something I want to spend $200-300 on to get an MXT400 with the cable and the antenna? And then you got to install it in your vehicle. Now that is, it's not mobile. It's in the vehicle. It's not going anywhere else. Some of the smaller micro mobiles, they have, like, you plug into a cigarette lighter, so it is a little bit more mobile and has magnetic mounts. But the MXT400 is a dedicated radio for that vehicle. This is a great transition piece. I recommend this to a lot of people who don't know what they want, but they need something fast. This is just a great little thing to have. And for $100, you get two with charging stations and battery and all that type of stuff. So in the link below, I'm going to have the Midland website with all these radios that you can go to. You pick them out. And if you have any questions or any comments about this, please leave them in the description below. And I'll talk to you later. Have a great one.